Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2021 The American Express, my top plays and fades. And again, we're going to do it a little different today. I am going to, well, it's going to be somewhat similar. I'm going to go into the analysis, and then I'm going to go into my top 15 players, and then at the end I will reveal where I think they're going to finish, and I think you will be a little surprised on where some of the guys that I'm picking, where they're going to end up in this tournament. So let's do this real quick. If you missed the course preview kind of overview yesterday I released, just real quickly, of course, we are in La Quinta, California. We are playing the PGA West, and we're playing just the stadium and the Nicklaus course. Par 72, yardage a little over 7,100 yards. A little smaller greens. A lot of comp courses that we are going to look at today when we're doing analysis is the players. I think the RBC is mentioned down there, and I think Sanderson Farms, and also we're going to look at the Valero. So just some of the courses that we'll go in. And just another side note, I'm sure you will see this, but John Rahm has withdrawn, and there is no information on why that is, but it is. So just heads up. All right, let's get into this. So real quickly, again, if you are new, what I do is I go through and create a custom stat model and dive into a lot of different areas and try to find correlation of guys that pop up, you know, over and over, or at least a few times through all the different things. So the first thing I'm looking at is recent form. This is going to be the past 24 rounds. Instead of 36, I want to get a little shorter window into what these guys have been doing. Even though some of these guys we still might have not seen since last year, so over a couple months. But some of these guys we have seen, and you know, so there is some weight to recent form, but not as much as usual. The key stroke gain categories that I'm going with is I want guys that can hit fairways, of course, hit greens. I think ball striking is going to be a huge area that I'm looking at, and that, of course, is, you know, hitting from the tee to the green. How well are you doing? So it's kind of taking a lot of different stats and put them in one. Approach is huge here. I actually watched some of the coverage of last year just to refresh the brain, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Of course, you got to make putts. That's every tournament. The guy who, you know, makes the most putts typically wins the thing. We got to go low. I mean, these guys were at like 21 under after day 3 or round 3. So, you know, this tournament, the cut could be somewhere between, you know, 6 under, 7 under. So we need guys that can convert on the birdies. And then the par 4s, the 10 par 4s that show up is between 350 and 500. There is 4 par 5s. This is where they've got some opportunities to make eagles, definitely at least birdie. And then a lot of the shots that they're going to be hitting on most of these holes on the approach is going to be around 150, 175. I think this is also a very key stroke gain analysis stat. And then there is 2 par 3s over 200 yards. So that was kind of the key stroke gain areas that I'll be looking at, or key factors that I built into the model and how I weight them. And then just kind of highlighted some guys that kept popping up. Neesmith actually pops up in all of the correlations I did, which is very interesting. And there's 5 of them. So, you know, definitely taking a strong look at him. Of course, Keegan pops up quite a few. The problem with Keegan is he cannot putt, but if he does, you know, he can be very live, but it's very rare. Seb Straka, who did very well here last year, pops up on quite a few. And then Brooks, of course, just from his talents, pops up, but this will be the first time Brooks has ever played at this course of the AMEX. So just side note. All right. So the next one is, of course, using that model, applying it against the history specifically at just the stadium course. They'll be playing 3 out of the 4 rounds at the stadium course. So that's what I'll be focusing on. And again, Seb Straka, as I mentioned, who did well. He's got 3 rounds at this course. Pops up number 1 under these areas. Of course, Neesmith, Moore. You know, Ryan Moore actually pops up a few times, you'll notice. Adam Hadwin, which we'll talk about, you know, his form hasn't been the greatest, but for some reason, every time this guy plays in this tournament, he's getting a top 5 or better. So somebody have to look at, hence his, you know, why his cost is what it is. But if you look at just what he's done recently, that would not be the case. And then, of course, comp course history. This is where I put filters in to then extract the courses that match up to that. And the filters are under 7,200 yards, Bermuda greens, easy to hit fairways, easy to score. That's a few of the ones that I could think of off the top of my head. And then, of course, you know, as mentioned, Hadwin's #1 against these key stat categories. Moore pops up again, Bradley, Neesmith. Yeah. And then, of course, Scotty Scheffler pops up down there. And this is the top ball strikers. So this is looking at the guys that perform from the tee to the green the best. And you'll notice like Russell Henley at the top, Sam Burns, guys that I like. But again, just wanted to highlight the guys that were popping up over. You know, Matthew Wolff pops up on there, but just Matthew's game. I mean, unless, you know, who knows? We haven't seen him in a while, but it was just a disaster towards the end of the year. So he's going to be kind of hard to swallow putting in a lineup, especially at 9,700. And then the one key area that what I noticed, if you look at past winners, you know, you got Adam Long, who won it a couple years back. You had Jason Duffner, who won it back-to-back here. Of course, that was playing, you know, the 3-course rotation. But all 3 courses are pretty similar between La Quinta, the Nicklaus, and the Stadium. But I just, you know, that's why I highlighted those guys there, just because they came up pretty high on the top 20 from guys. And then, of course, Neesmith pops again, Bradley, Ryan Moore, Brooks Koepka. So that is the models and what they're saying. And then I just put this up. I just thought this was interesting. Just, again, kind of refresh your brains of, you know, the guys that kind of were leading round by round. You know, Scotty, of course, pops. You know, Ricky Fowler actually had 3 good rounds here and then fell apart. Well, just didn't do anything really on Sunday. Of course, Andrew Landry won this thing this year. And, of course, this is 2020. And he actually stayed relevant through the whole thing, of course, to get there. But, again, you see Scotty kind of moving up. Ricky's up there. Finau shot a 62 in round 2. You know, so again, even more for just showdown purposes. Here's guys that, you know, can do anything on one day. Scotty actually led the field after round 3. Landry was still in the hunt. And then, of course, Moore's popping up again. Chase Seifert's kind of interesting down there. You got Abraham Answer, went up 2nd. Landry wins it. Bud Cauley, who's not in the field, ended up in 4th. And then Sebastian Kaplan, who was around. I don't know if he's in the field. I didn't even look at him. He didn't kind of come up on anything I was looking at. So that just kind of gives you just some information. Okay, what I'm going to do now is we are going to jump into the actual analysis. And like I said, I'll tell you where I'm going to place these guys after we kind of go through them all and why I'm picking. So one of the big things I mentioned was ball striking. And you can see less than 7,200 yards where these guys fall. I think that's the key area that I'm going to be looking at. Of course, recent results, tournament history, we'll take a look at too. And let me make this a little bigger so it just shows up better. There we go. Okay. All right, so Tony, let's just kind of walk through him real quick. And so putting, you can see Bend is his best surface. If you look at his splits, Bermuda, you know, it's a little below the PGA Tour average, but, you know, we all know it comes down to putting with Tony. Of course, he had a 31st tournament. And actually, his game, I think, has been a little sideways as an off the tee. I've never seen Tony miss so many fairways, but usually his approach. But if we go look at his past history at the AMEX, we'll pull that up. He had a 14th, of course, did well here last year, but has missed a cut the 2 previous times, a little ways back. Well, missed a cut in 2016, 59th on the 15th. And we look at some of the other comp courses, the players. I think it's a good one to look at. Yeah, 22nd in 2019, but a couple missed cuts. I wanted to look at the Valero. Let's get it down. He had a 3rd in 2017. But again, these are courses that just fit from you know, some island greens. There's a bit of water, but as in the Bermuda greens, as in a par 72, you know, just so you know why I picked these. The RSM is relevant. He had a 14th there in 2014. That's a little. Also taking a crack at the RBC. This just shows guys that can get around a thinking man's course. I'm not saying this one is like what we just saw at the Sony, where it was more of a kind of a plotter. I think you can the length is an advantage here. It always is, but a length in the right spot off the fairways is an advantage. And then Sanderson Farms was one. So he missed a cup, but that was all the way back in 2004. But anyways, I do like Tony as a play, especially, again, we got to think about points. We got to think about guys can go low. Tony is one of those guys. All right. My next guy that I had selected was Patrick Reed. You can see on his splits, Bermuda, just barely positive. But pretty solid green here over his last, 200 tournaments, if you want to look at just, which is kind of shocking. His last 5, he's struggled a little bit around the green, which usually that's his strength. Tournament of Champions, he had a 21st, of course, the Masters. So, some good placements here since the FedEx Cup. But let's go ahead. Let's see what his, so the players, he didn't play in 2020. Well, nobody did, right? They shut it down. I forgot about that. So, got one round under, and then that was the end of golf for a bit. The Valero, kind of a while ago, but he had a second 2016. The RSM, nothing there. What about RBC? A couple miscuts. And then Sanderson, nothing there. Okay. But the key that why I like Patrick Reed is I like this number here. And he did have a cut last year here, but he did win it a few years back. I don't know when. When was that win? Let's go find out. Sorry, I don't think I put in the AMEX for him. What year did he win it? That was back in 2014. And of course, that would have been out of the multi-course rotation. And then since then, those best was the 12th. Okay. Sanjay M. Tournament history. I like that. Also, his ball striking is almost past the line for courses that are a little smaller. The Sony wasn't what we were looking for, but he has had some nice finishes. He did have a cut at RSM. Let's go take a look. So his Bermuda is definitely a strong putting surface. And that's typically where Sanjay struggles, is with the putter. Usually never an issue getting to the green and getting close to the hole. It's what can he do with the putter after he gets there. And let's go look at the players. He miscut in 2019. The Valero, he had a 20th in 2019. The RSM, we just saw he had a miscut this previous year, but a 37th in 2000. And the RBC. Oh, let's take a look at Sanderson as he played there. He had a second at Sanderson Farm in 2019 and a 20th. So Sanderson Farms, it's a par 72 Bermuda, but it is around 7,400 yards. So it's a little longer course, but I still see a correlation there. So that's why I'm adding it in. Okay. Sanjay M. All right, let's go take a look at Scotty Scheffler. So he's had some nice finishes. He came off, he had that little COVID spill, and I think his first tournament back with Sanderson Farms, and he's been improving, kind of steadily since then. Of course, he had a 3rd place here, and of course, he can go low. Projection, ownership is showing that, and cost. Let's take a look at Scotty's information here. So, as we know, the putter is not his strongest club in the bag. Let's go. Let's see. So just the one appearance at the AMEX last year. He had a 3rd, of course. Let's take a look at Valero. He had a 20th in 2019. Players. He's never played at the Players. Huh. Let me just make sure of that. Nope. Has not played at the Players. RSM. He had a 5th in 2019. RBC. Never played. So, yeah, I like Scotty. He will definitely be in my player pool, and I will also, again, at the end of this, show you where everybody's going to be ranked out for me, where I think they're going to be coming in. All right, Abraham Answer. Tournament history. Of course, he came in second. Almost could have won that thing. He had a shot. I don't know, it was on the 17th towards the end where it almost went in the hole for an eagle, but it didn't. And he did make the birdie. But yeah, pretty good course history here. Of course, the price and the ownership is showing that. Of course, I had him picked to win last week, and I kind of mentioned this on the preview show. Typically, for some odd reason, I'm always a week behind when these guys are going to pop. I see them but I think there is some course correlation even from what they just played with the Sony. It's a little shorter course, but it is Bermuda par 70. You got to be hitting, your irons well. You got to be going in. But as you see, I like these teens. Whenever I see guys kind of popping into the teens, it seems like they're ready. Abraham's never won on tour. I know he's chomping at the bit. Some of his other LATAM colleagues have, and so I know he is maybe that putting even some pressure on himself to do so. Bermuda is not his best surface, but again, that doesn't the whole putting surfacing isn't huge. It's just kind of showing over their history of their career where they've done better. But as we know, the putter can get hot or not. All right, let's take a look at the players. So 2019, he had 12th. I like that. The RSM missed the cut in 2015. Let's just check the RBC while we're here. He had a second in 2020. So that's good. What about Sanderson Farms? 68, but that was way back in 2017. And I don't know if I did the Bolero. He had a 42nd in 2019. So yeah, definitely like Abraham Answer. Just hoping maybe I was just off by a weekend. We will see. Russ Henley, I've been telling this guy for quite a few tournaments to win, and he has just been nipping. And I actually don't know. I think I looked. We'll check it out. So his tournament history here, I think he'd be quite a bit more cost-wise if he didn't have these 3 cuts in a row. But don't remember, Victor Hovland also, who just won Mayakoba, right? Missed the cut there twice and then came out and won it. So, again, tournament history, you can only take it so far. And, there is sometimes where it totally makes sense, and we'll talk about that. But anyways, I like his ball striking on shorter courses. That's one of the main reasons why he's here. But he's just an amazing approach and iron player. If you go look at his splits and his background, strong on Bermuda. Had a good showing at the Sony. Of course, a little shorter, but didn't pull it out. I was he was in my player pool too last week. We look at the RSM, some strong finishes in the past, but a 30th recently. We look at the RBC, a couple miscuts recently, but had a 6 way back in 2013. Look at the players. Best finish, well, it was a while ago, 17th in 2014, but at 35th in 2017. And then his past here, we already know at the AMEX, not the greatest course history. What was the other one? Let's take a look at Sanderson Farms over here. He had a 14th back in 2016. So this one is not so much a course history I'm going off. I know his game. I know what he does very well, and it just seems to fit him. So yeah, I will be definitely playing some Henley. And then Champ, which might be a little surprising. I mean, people might think, this course might not fit his game so well. From a putting perspective, he's neutral on Bermuda. He had a 31st at the Tournament of Champions, not the greatest showing, but a good Masters, good at the Zozo. If we look at his past performance at the AMEX, he played here last year and had a 21st. If we look at just RBC, miscut in 2019, RSM, he had a 6th place in 2018. Of course, he won. I think his first win was at Sanderson Farms. That kind of started to, pique my interest with him. The players never played, and let's see the Bolero. He had a 73rd in 2018. But yeah, Cameron Champ is going to be also one of my picks, and I'll let you know where he shakes out here in a second. Sam Burns, Bermuda Burns. His last we saw him was at the Houston Open. I think he was actually, I feel like he was leading. Yeah, it was a Safeway, but he Yeah, maybe it was the Houston or Safe. I can't remember now. It's been a little bit back where he had a chance to win that tournament. But it have a T6 here last year and a T18, so I like his course history. Again, all relative, but I think it just fits his game. As we said, Bermuda Burns. He loves Bermuda. Let's take a look. So we already know he's done well at the AMEX, so we don't need to go there. RSM, 37th in 2018. RBC, miscut last year, but a 9th in 2019. The players did not play in. And then let's take a see. Valero, 23rd in 2019. Okay. But his game, again, fits. Great ball striker. Great putter on Bermuda. And he's had, good recent form. So I like the Burns. Oops, wrong one. All right, so Adam Hadwin. So it took me a little bit to come to Adam Hadwin, especially with the price of 8K. But he does have a really good ball striking on shorter courses from 7,200 or less. Of course, you can see here, not the best form coming at the end of the year, but ridiculous tournament history here. And I've seen this. I mean, you look at Brian Gay at the Bermuda. There's times where I'll just say, you know what, I can't do it. But then it comes back and bites me in the rear. I mean, Kevin Na last week, has had pretty good course history at the Sony Open. He played it like 14 times, and that was his first time winning. But just it fit him, even though his form going into it was, I think, disastrous. If you look at it, what he did at Tournament of Champions, I talked about that in the preview yesterday. But even though everything from recent form is telling me, I should not be picking this guy, I just have a feeling everything is just kind of. And he is a good, he's a great iron player. But you can see from a surface standpoint, it's not screaming out that, hey, he's neutral. But we also kind of take a look back. So we already know he's had an amazing course history here, hence the price that he's getting. We look at the players, missed the cut in 2019, but, made the cut, had some, I don't know, decent showings there. Tougher course, tougher field for sure. The Valero, he had a 72, second way back when. The RSM, miscut in 2020, but had a couple okay finishes. How about the RBC? 4 out of the 5 made the cut. Best finish was the 22nd. But like I said, from a model standpoint, nothing is really popping out. I mean, the last good showing we've seen from Adam Hadwin was at the Rocket Mortgage. Let's take a click on that. That's POA. Okay, par 72. I was just seeing from a correlation side. I'm trying to see, and then Safeway and Shriners, he had a nice little showing. Safeway, POA. He likes the POA. And Shriners, bent. Okay. Anyway, so he is going to be in my player pool. I feel like if I fade him, it's just going to bite me in the butt, and and hope that the break gave him some time to work on his game, and he's ready to go. Zach Johnson, funny enough, I believe, I faded him last week, even though I thought it was a pretty decent course fit. He was 8,500. This week he's 7,900. I'm kind of on him for 2 points. One, cheaper. And I think some people from, kind of his showing might be off him. But I think from a course fit approach, putting, everything you need to do here, you don't need to be long, of course. You just need to be able to, I did say you could take advantage of this course if you have some length. But even if you don't, you can look at past winners. You don't need to be super long here. So we take a look at Zach and why this week I'm kind of interested is, even though it's definitely not his best putting surface, Bermuda. I like, he had that RSM showing. He actually had a pretty good fall last year. But we pull up the RSM. I mean, he's had a 6th, a 7th, and 8th. Again, a correlation course. The RBC, you can see he's had some decent finishes. A second way back in 2012. The Valero, he had a 5th, a 6th, a 5th in 2018 to the most. The players, had a 2nd back in 2012, of course, back in his heyday. But, last time was a missed cut. Let's take a look at Sanderson Farms. I think it's the only last one. And then a 23rd at Sanderson, or 14th, 2019. That's actually kind of, like I said, when Zach's game was kind of firing pretty well, was in the fall. So I am going to have him in my lineups. I'm not a huge Zach Johnson fan. I'll be honest with it. Don't typically play him, but that's all neither here or there. I just think it's a good fit. Mr. Griot, when I think of ball strikers, he's one of the guys that pops to my head. Actually, if Garcia was here, which I don't believe, I should probably check that. Let me just check that. I want to just confirm. I didn't even see him pop up. Okay, no. For some reason, when I think of Griot, I think of also Sergio, both Latin players. Sorry, let's scroll back down. So you can see recent, pretty good form at the OHL RSM before the break at the Sony. Whatever. Not, nothing to brag about or worry about. But of course, again, approach. The putter is where it always, can come one way or the other. But typically, it's not good. If he gets hot with the putter, he could do some damage. All right, let's look at his kind of so at the AMEX. He's only played there once, missed a cut. That was back in 2017. The players, some decent showings at 11th in 2017, 26th in 2019. The Valero never played. RSM, an 18th, just recent. RBC, 16th back in 2008, missed a cut though this past year. So yeah, I think again when I think of good ball strikers, I like him. Then Aaron Wise was of course a guy that I don't know, I guess simplest way thought was going to be all the talent in the world, and then just kind of fell back. But he has been making a resurgence, as you can see here. Of course, he got a couple cuts, but when he does make the cut, of course that's on Bermuda. You got the OHL. Mike Kobe had a second, so pretty decent form. That was only a month and a half ago. Even though he's played this 4 times, the last 2 times he missed, but he does have some shows of decent. I think for the price and the projected ownership, I think he's just going to go overlooked. And again, I'm not a huge Aaron Wise play, but I like what I've been seeing recently, and I think this course could fit him. The RSM, he had a 13th, but that was a ways back. RBC missed a cut. The Valero missed a cut. I'm making a good case for him here. Sanderson Farms did a 17th, and towards the fall. So I like that, and I think that was it from the comp courses. I think I hit them all. But yeah, going to have Aaron Wise in my player pool. He will be. Tell you where he kind of falls in when we're done. All right, let's keep trucking through these guys. Doc Redman, again, great ball striker. Played her once, had a 29th. Played the RSM recently, missed cut. The Houston Open wasn't that great, but the Bermuda had a T4. Again, when I think you see the ownership is already kind of 14%, but for the prices, it's a good price on him. Great on approach. His putting, it's not bad. It can get hot or cold. But tee to green, the guy's just solid. Still has not won on tour. Of course, he had that second place very early on when Nate Lashley won at the Rocket Mortgage. That was when I think he kind of came out of the scene. It's kind of when I first noticed him. Let's see here. Let's go see. I don't know if he's played a lot of these places. So the players, no. The Valero, no. RSM played there twice. Missed cut this recent, but I had a 23rd the previous. I think a lot of people are on him because of that. And then the Sandersons, he ended up 28th. So, maybe a little more volatile play, but I know the talent's there, and I think it's a pretty good course fit. Substraka, always pretty decent play. A guy can make some points. He had a T4 here last year. Of course, we talked a little bit about that when we were showing the round-by-round coverage. Bermuda is just, kind of neutral surface for him. If we look, I think we already did the AMEX. Yeah, he had a 4th and a miscut. So let's go look. The Valero miscut. RSM had a 44th. I don't think he's ever played in the Players. No. Well, Sanderson Farms. No, that's not good. So we're going on just that he can get hot, and he's had decent recent form and had some good course history here. But if you look at kind of since the fall, he's been producing, and for the price tag, I think it's worth it. And the last but not least, Neesmith, who I think is going to shock some people here. We could talk about why. So he's played here once at a T17. He did have that cut at the Sony recently, but at the RSM and the Shriners and the Sanderson, again, popping in the teams, even an upper top 10 finish at the Shriners. And if we go look at some more information on Neesmith, he does like Bermuda. And if we look at some of the comp courses, I don't know if he's ever played in the Players. A lot of these guys have not. The Valero, nope. RSM, he's done well there both times. Great course fit. RBC, 33rd. Sanderson, a 17th. So everything's popping that he could do very well. So that's the background information analysis on the guys that I picked. Now let's go real quickly, see where I am putting them, guys. And I think you're going to be a little shocked. So first one, I think, I already said and kind of mentioned, I thought Abraham Ancer had a good chance to win last week. And I think he has a better chance this week. I think some people will be off him because of missing the cut. But I think, like I said, I was just a week early on Abraham. Got Russ Henley. I've been waiting for him to crack a win. He's just been chomping at the bit, top tens left and right. This could also be a good spot for him. Sam Burns, I see everything that fits. Again, he's had some chances recently to win. And then Neesmith, again, a guy that everything is pointing me that he's going to have a good showing here, and to the point that I would put him at a possible could win this thing. I mean, if you look at the past winners between Swafford and Duffner and Adam Long, the field it's decent, but it's not, where they can't beat it. And then when you take Rahm out of the picture, it opens some doors. And then Hadwin, everything tells you that when Adam plays here, something about this course he loves. So I'm not going to fight it. I'm just, even though, like I said, some things are telling me no, but we haven't seen the guy a couple months. He could come here and just pick up where he left off. From a top 20 perspective, I like Scheffler, especially from a scoring perspective. The guy's just a point generator. I like Griot to get up in there. We talked about why. I got Reed getting in the top 20. Sungjae Im, I think, is going to be in the top 20. And then Cameron Champ, it could be, wasn't playing there, but I think he could, he's going to do well here. It's all the putter for him. And a lot of those guys that were just pulled up. And then, Finau, I got him top 30. A lot of people probably are going to, have him in a ton of player pool, especially with the pool that they have. But just watching Tony's game, even though, like I said, he shot that 62 last year here, I believe that was on the stadium course. I don't know. He's just not hitting the ball like he usually does. So we've got to see him recently, and I haven't liked what I've seen. Substraka has been solid, and again, I think his game will fit to here. Talked about Doc. I think he can get a top 30. Zach Johnson for the price tag, under 8,000, I think, and then Aaron Wise the top 30. So that's where I see those guys all baking out. Those are my picks. Hope that helps. And then, of course, from a betting perspective, if you are, there was some questions people are asking. Just when I do betting, typically I like my long shots, and right now I'm still waiting. I'm located in Michigan, so still waiting for us to open it up at any moment or any day. They're saying it's going to be available. So typically I got to go to a casino and bet on some of these guys when I do it. And typically if I'm going to do that, I'm just going to bet some long shots. I'm not trying to, grind out a top 5 or top 10 or top 20 or whatever. But if I was, I'd probably spread it. I'd have my long shots and also, the guys I think in top 10. And that's why I'm also doing this in this format now is, where these guys I think can finish, instead of just being like, oh, hey, I like these guys at this price. I like these guys at that price. I'm actually, which is pretty rare, saying this is where I think they're going to end up. So that's it. Thanks so much. I hope that helps. If you like what you saw, please click the like. If you didn't, please provide some comments on what you'd like to see different. Share with anybody you think would find value in this or be interested. And if you are new and or you've been watching but haven't subscribed, I understand that. Just click the button. It doesn't cost you anything. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I am not. This is just purely, this is my analysis that I do and just providing it free to you guys and hope it helps. And if you have any questions, if I can help you in any way possible, of course, hit me up at Twitter at DFS Golf Guru. And that's it. And so as I keep my new tagline, and I'm going to be running with, is money won is twice as sweet as money earned. Thank you, Fast Eddie Felson. I concur 100%. Best of luck to us at the American Express. And I will be putting out my sleepers, hidden gem guys tomorrow. So if you're looking to say, okay, what about, guys who are going to make the cut, you will get that tomorrow. Thanks so much. Take care.